I'm Nicole Allos, and every week I sit down with a woman who's actively building something meaningful for a 15-minute conversation designed to get the real story fast. And today's guest is Sue Belagodu. Sue is a founder, AI adoption strategist. She's a speaker, former product executive with nearly 2 decades of experience building technology products across startups and enterprise organizations. She's also the founder and managing partner of Intellectus Advisors, the creator of the Human in the Loop maturity model and Humyn Pulse, and a member of the Forbes Technology Council. And her core belief is one that I absolutely love, that organizations that earn the most trust won't be the ones who have the smartest technology, the smartest AI. They're going to be the ones that design the best partnership between humans and the technology. And I'm so happy to say that Sue and I are connected through this season's SheBuilds Build-A-Thon through Lovable. And we formed this kind of sub cohort of women really supporting each other, not only through the build, but afterward. And together with some incredible women from that community, we've formed the Midnight Builders Collective. And I've had the front row seat to see what she's building, and I cannot wait for all of you to hear it straight from her. So, Sue, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me, Nicole. And that introduction, I better live up to that because thank you. That was so kind
Your,
and generous.
your background is amazing. All right, so let's get into it. What are you building right now?
Well, I feel like I am building something new every couple years because I'm like an eternal curious person. Right now, what she builds experience kind of flamed for me was something that I was using in my consulting practice for years.
Mm-hmm.
I took that methodology and framework and then I built the product. It's called Humyn Pulse. And what it does is basically nips the problem in the bud of AI adoption. We see everywhere 95% of AI adoption fails, and we all point to the model or, the leadership team not doing it well. But often we overlook the fact that these adoption strategies needed to have a human in the loop, and the human needed to be empowered and given the tools and mechanisms to be successful. So Humyn Pulse measures that human oversight between AI and humans in the AI adoption journey. Um, it gives you a score that tells you, hey, here are all of the dimensions that you have to be doing well against to have a successful AI adoption. And it's particularly focused on the human. Things like how fatigued are they? Are they just, rubber stamping approvals because now they think AI knows everything. So why should we second guess it? Are they teaching AI? So there's so many ways humans and AI need to collaborate to create this co-intelligence, but all of the metrics out there focus on the AI performance, focus on the AI models, but not many of them were talking about this human plus AI metrics. And that's kind of what Humyn Pulse does. It's in its beta stage, so I'm still learning how the product would work. But I've used that framework and run experiments. I right now have like 40 plus experiments I've run on real AI workflows in companies. So I'm confident about what's behind the product, but the product itself is something I'm still building.
That's amazing. And yeah, having human insight in the loop is, I think we're realizing is so critically important. What types of customers or what types of, ICPs might you have for this product?
The product market fit is something people either crack instantly or it takes years.
Mhm.
I started off with one ICP in mind, which is individuals, teams inside companies leveraging AI to automate their workflows. And this was using Claude Code or Codex or just these add on tools that they can now enhance their existing workflows. So that was my ICP. And I realized that could be an engineering lead, a product lead, a team member within a larger team. But as I've continued to build it, Nicole, I feel like another ICP is emerging, and this is like the governing body in companies. Governing bodies meaning an AI governance team, which is a cross functional leadership team. And they
Mhm.
care about just one thing: how many AI initiatives do we have that are active in our company? How are they doing? Are we compliant to all of these new policies in place for adopting AI, and fix the problem before it becomes a public issue? So there are two kinds of ICPs. Either you're a user and they interact with the product by doing what I call the pulse check. So literally pulse checking if your AI is doing good, if your AI system's doing good, and the AI governing body, which is usually a CISO, COO, CFO kind of combination,
Mhm.
uh, who is responsible for overseeing all the AI initiatives.
I love that. It sounds like there's so many different opportunities, but it also sounds like you've really narrowed it down to those who might be earliest adopters or who might feel the pain even more than someone else at this point, which is amazing. Tell me a little bit more about why this particular problem was chosen for you to solve.
Well, such a good question. One that I keep going back to. The reason this stands out to me is two part. One, I've been working as an advisor for other tech and AI founders in the startup space.
Mhm.
And what I saw was the pressure they had on themselves to produce this AI native product that completely automated something and create magic. Uh,
Mhm.
and yes, the MVP would be great, the launch would go great, but then it wouldn't scale. Because what won people's trust was not how cool your AI solution was, but how trustworthy was it for them to put that in their enterprises, right?
Mhm.
So I have been part of work where founders then had to redo their core product, introduce human in the loop concepts, and then take it to enterprises. That was one. The other thing was just my own experience. Prior to doing advisory work, I was a co-founder of an AI native startup. The business logic, the problem it was solving was fantastic. We were early to market. It was agentic AI in the testing space, like a dev tool. And we thought we'd hit the Powerball because we're like, oh, you know what? This is fantastic. This is a great product. But scaling that was very, very hard. And the more I looked at the product and I sat in those customer conversations, I could kind of understand why they were hesitant to adopt it at scale. They would ask things like, how are you managing hallucination? How do you know that this output is the right output for us? What happens if the AI goes rogue? And companies were so focused on saying you don't need humans, replace them with systems, that they didn't have good answers to these questions. And so we started introducing human in the loop in the design as part of the design. That is what led to us then breaking into that enterprise market. But that's all like the business side of things, Nicole. But I think on just at a humanity level,
Yep.
we are so tuned as humans to learn to trust based on the interactions we have with other humans, right? And now, if you remove that core aspect from the equation and you're asking your users and customers to trust a system and there is no human element in it. So I think it's a really important gap that needs to be addressed. um, I started speaking about it and working in this area about 2 years ago. And I'm so thrilled that finally now it's cool again to be human,
Yeah,
right?
I love that. That's true.
Let's go.
We've come to our senses, right? A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, after a lot of budget losses and lack of ROI, and in some cases, I don't want to take names of companies that did have that kind of breach, but there was some people who put their trade secrets on ChatGPT when they were having conversations with it within an organization, and that company particularly shut ChatGPT out. They said, nope, no one's using it. But that's also not a way to go. Like, you can ban a
Yeah.
technology, but add governance and human in the loop to make it work. Um, but now that, I just realized I can use the company name because it's public information. This was Samsung in
Oh,
2023. But now Samsung launched a partnership with OpenAI in June because they have a fantastic governance system in place and human oversight.
that's great. What I'm hearing is really that ethical draw of, yes, this is an amazing product, or this is an amazing output. And because it's so amazing, there might be some challenges. Um, it sounds like this is a really great counterbalance and a perfect timing as well.
Absolutely. There was a Harvard professor who is a philosophy and ethics professor. Asked ChatGPT when it had launched, "What is your what's your moral compass like?" or something like that. And ChatGPT responded saying, I am a software, I'm technology, I don't have moral compass, and I don't know how to answer this question." And a month later, she wanted to demonstrate to her colleagues. So she said, check this out. And she asked the same question. This time around, it had a very sophisticated response, and it said, I am technology and I do have opinions about what's right and what's wrong, but it's also based on my training data and the way you interact with me. And
Yeah.
what shocked her was how quickly this evolution happened, which is when I think she also said that, which is when people woke up to this and said, oh, there's this training data that's impacting how these frontier models think, and we should play a role in influencing the output. And
Yeah.
not just assume that it's technology and it can never replace human thinking, but there's collective human thinking behind that. So a layer of ethical human input and feedback is super important.
Yeah. And I love that you built this in 2 days, right? I mean, I know it's a different product, but
Oh
like
my
that just blows my mind that you were able to do that. I mean, meanwhile, I'm like, make a pretty background that looks like water. You're
no,
like, you're like solving the world's problems. I'm so incredibly impressed. Now I even know more about it. So, tell me a little bit more about where you are right now.
where I am with Humyn Pulse is that, of course, I got this 48 hours with SheBuilds and built the product. It was fantastic. It was still very, let's create a demo kind of
Yeah.
a product. And now I've taken it out to my close contacts, gotten feedback from some of the people that we now know from the SheBuilds community, but also to my ICPs who are my friends. So
Mhm.
I'm getting feedback on what's good to use, what have I missed, and all of that. And I will roll out a version of this maybe early September,
Okay.
larger consumption. At first, my goal was, how do I monetize this? But I've changed since then. I think it's more important for us to get a collective understanding of how companies are adopting AI and create benchmarks for it. And so I want to be able to hand this out free to everyone's. It'll be anonymized. I want folks to take it. I want them to understand how important this is and, make those changes. Because if
Yeah.
you don't feel the pain, you're not going to want to fix it. And this is too important a movement for me to think about monetizing it right now. So my goal is to educate people about what human oversight is, what human in the loop and AI collaboration looks like, how do you measure it, um, and help people. kind of builds better systems. Nicole, you spoke about trust, and I always say trust in AI cannot just be a feeling. It needs to be measurable, right? And how do you measure trust when there's a human and AI in the loop? So that's where I'm at. I'm building a version that it'll be open source of sorts. So it's a free tool for everybody to use, with the main goal of educating people about this topic. So people don't come back and say, what is that again? What's the human in the loop?
Yeah.
Or go down that path.
Well, it's amazing that you've decided to go that path, right? Having more users, having more eyes on this will probably give you some signals sooner than if you decided to just jump right to monetization. But it sounds like that's also coming from your why too, in terms of like coming from this place, this ethical place, and ensuring that um, as AI grows, as it has been, that it's connected to something that's real, that matters, and that can be really counted on, which I absolutely love. So how can a big part of this, the women who build will always end with an ask. So, what can you ask of the community or anything that might help you in this build that you're in the middle of?
Thank you, Nicole. And knowing you, this is, as I was saying, it's so on brand for you. You're such a giver. And for you to have a closing statement helps your speakers and audience give each
Aw,
other.
thanks.
Fantastic. My ask would be, I would love to share the link with your audience. I'd
Yeah.
ask to check out humanpulse.com, and I spell human HUMYN. So humanpulse.com, take the free assessment. They don't have to share anything that's a trade secret. Take the assessment, see where you are at, and build better AI systems. If there are folks out there that are interested in teaching their teams in their company, or groups of women builders, or just building builder networks that are looking for workshops, then I'd love to come in and do a hands-on workshop, talk to you about AI governance, how to create human in the loop systems, and adopt AI successfully. So I think those would be my two asks. Use it for free. Please build better systems. Invite me to do workshops. I'd love to come and talk to groups of people and teach them how to do this.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we will have, for those of you who are just listening, we'll make sure that we have all of Sue's information on the website associated with this page. So buildingthingsthatmatter.com. And you can also find information on your podcast provider of choice. Sue, thank you so much for bringing this amazing story today. I've learned so much more than I even knew in knowing you for this time. And what really strikes me is what you talked about, that the smartest AI doesn't win, but the best partnerships between humans and AI is going to be what wins and reduces AI hesitancy. And so that's absolutely a build worth watching. So if Sue's work resonated with you, connect with her on LinkedIn, follow Socratyc Stories wherever you listen to podcasts, and share this episode with a woman who's building something, and visit Building Things That Matter. And happy building, everyone. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, everyone.